Hello everybody, this is SolarFan2K10 here, welcoming you to the first in a new batch of Brio Thomas Friends Discussions, a series which I started 10 years ago, looking at the Thomas Friends characters made by Brio. And so far in this series we've covered the standard gauge engines, and in the next few installments we're going to be looking at the rolling stock and non-rail characters, starting of course with Annie and Clarabel, Thomas's faithful coaches. So at this point we all know about Annie and Clarabel and their history and what have you, so I'm not going to delve too much into that, but I will discuss their character a little bit later. But for right now, we'll just take a closer look at their models, starting with Annie. So there's a little look at her face, if hopefully it focuses correctly. Characteristic shocked expression for Annie. It's weird how you look at any classic Annie and Clarabel merchandise from however many years ago, back during the model eras in particular, that Annie wears this shocked expression. In the classic series, in fact in the entirety model series, she only ever wore this expression like twice, I think, at most. So it's weird how they use it in almost all her merchandise, but I think the reason why is because, you know, she's so similar to Clarabel that they had to have another way to differentiate her. So if we take a little look at the side, there is her side detail, really nice. Mine is really worn because I played with this a lot when I was younger, and I still use these a lot to this day. But she's got a nice painted window, she's got all the lines, she's got doors and what have you. She's got a name printed there. Not sure how well you can see that little smidge of white right there. That's her name printed in cursive, which is not a font that I particularly like because I find it quite illegible personally. But for Annie and Clarabel it works quite nicely. There's the back of Annie, which you'll notice there's this sort of residue or what have you. This is left over from the Brio sticker. I took the Brio sticker off because before I had many more coaches, I'm sure most people probably did this, but before I had too many coaches, to make spare ones that weren't Annie and Clarabel, I used to turn them around like this so that they're facing each other. But doing so, you have this big glaring Brio sticker on the back, and I didn't like that, so that's why I peeled it off. I didn't do it a good job of it, personally, but I should probably clean it up one of these days. But I quite like having just some remnants of that Brio sticker, which, if you haven't seen the other discussions on other items before, then the sticker literally just says Brio, and it usually has the date, which is normally 1996. For whatever reason, most items have that, even for characters that were introduced later than 1986. There's the other side of Annie though. Same detail, she's a coach obviously, so she's going to have similar details either side. There's a look at the top. So she just has a nice plain white roof. If we wanted to be properly accurate, Annie and Clarabel usually have these little ridges or what have you. I'm not sure what they are, I'm not sure what purpose they serve for a coach of her basis. But she doesn't, but it's perfectly fine. I quite like having the smooth roof. There's a look at the underside of her, and she just has two screws that hold the chassis and the body together. So honestly, that's really about it for this Brio Annie model. There's not a whole lot to talk about for that. So we'll take a quick look at Clarabel as well. There's her face. One thing I'll say about Annie and Clarabel as merchandise models and what have you, they are pretty much the most consistent with their faces across any merchandise between Take Along, Take and Play, Hornby, Bachman, Tomy Trackmaster. Their faces are pretty consistent across all the merchandise models. Annie's usually shocked, Clarabel's usually smiling, but you compare these directly to any other merchandise, and I tell you what, they pretty much get the faces right every time. Most models sometimes the faces are a little bit off, but for Annie and Clarabel they're pretty consistent in terms of the designs of the faces. So there's the side of Clarabel. Her name is there as well. She does have one little difference compared to Annie, which to be honest I only just noticed when I was just taking a closer look at these myself before starting this video. Because Clarabel carries the guard, she carries passengers, luggage and the guard, while Annie only carries passengers. She has a guard's compartment, and you'll notice that compared to Annie, she is actually missing a window. So that's a really nice detail that that Brio caught, and I'm glad they did that. But yeah, there's a look at that. It's a little bit better condition than Annie. There's the back where, again, the Brio stick has been removed. There's the other side. Again, just mirror details. Just windows and doors, not a whole lot to talk about. Roof, very same. Chassis, very same. And, you know, aside from the faces and the names, you know, Annie and Clarabel are, of course, very similar. They are, of course, twins, as we know. In terms of character, I really like Annie and Clarabel in the TV series. They are... I love the role that they play with Thomas, especially. The fact that they are kind of his helpers, his caregivers, or what have you. They're the ones who keep Thomas on track when he... if he gets too overexcited or too overeager or what have you, or he gets an idea that, you know, may not work or what have you, they're the ones that bring him down a peg and tell him, you know, hey, look out, there's a red signal, or, you know, pointing out when a guard has blown his whistle, or try to make him rethink what he's thinking. So I love that role. I love the I just love that side of them. I particularly love as well their portrayal since Blue Mountain Mystery is my favourite, because they've truly become well-developed characters. Especially the one moment of theirs that I pretty much I particularly like is from the rail car and the coaches, where Daisy has to take them, and they play a trick on her, and they are the ones who end up getting in trouble at the end, because, you know, they've made Daisy panic and run off to the diesel works, and the Fat Controller reprimands them. And it's a really interesting moment to see them, you know, after all these years of being responsible and you know, keeping Thomas on track or what have you, that they're the ones actually playing the tricks and being cheeky, what have you. So it's a great little moment for them. But all in all, you know, these two characters are some of my favourites. And yeah, I'm really glad that Brio's made such great models of them. So there's not a whole lot else to talk about, to be honest, with these. But there is one thing that I would like to do. I'm lucky enough to actually have the learning curve versions of Annie and Clarabel. So I thought it'd be a cool idea. I haven't done this yet in the Brio discussions, but I thought might be nice to actually compare and contrast these. So these models in particular, they're from 2003, but they're basically the old style models. So I'm just going to refer to them as old style. These are the ones that I think most people would have had. You know, I've pretty much ever since I started watching videos of Thomas Wooden Railway or what have you, I've seen these in pretty much everyone's videos and collections, and I think, you know, most people watching this video are probably looking at these and thinking, yeah, that's nostalgic. These are my Annie and Clarabel or what have you. But we'll go ahead and compare and contrast them with Brio's efforts. So straight away, looking at the faces, I can tell you what, Brio is the winner here for me. Mainly just because of the shape of the nose, the painted eyes. I just don't like how the learning curve one is just lines. It just looks odd to me. Particularly the nose, how the nose is like connected to the eyebrows, or to the eyes. It's just odd and just weird to me, and I don't particularly like it. There's a look at their sides. I think the Brio Annie is a little bit brighter, which I quite like as well. But also she has the white windows. Learning Curve Annie only has black, which is not bad, but I don't particularly like that either. Her name is a lot more clear, I will say that. I do prefer that. And then looking at their roof, Learning Curve items, for whatever reason, some of them, I think Toby is another one, and the NW Brake Van and Henrietta, I think. Any of them with this sort of shaped roof, they have these... I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. Nails or rivets or what have you in the roof, and I don't particularly like them. But apart from that, there's not a whole much else to look at. The other side, again, the one point I will give Learning Curve is the clearer name. I do appreciate that. But in terms of detail and faces, Brio, in my opinion, wins on this occasion. We'll take Annie away. We will take a little comparison of Clarabel. And again, I much prefer Brio's effort here. There's nothing wrong, you know, if this is the one you like, there's nothing wrong with the Learning Curve one. I just think that the faces are better on Brio, personally. The other thing that I didn't show is the underneath. Let me turn that around for you. So learning curve, of course, does put the names of the characters on the bottom, which I like as well. So that's another, you know, even though you've got the faces, you've always got the name on the bottom to as a backup if you can't remember the two coaches, which is really nice. So those are the old style ones. Now though, I want to bring in the new style Annie and Clarabel. So these were introduced in 2004. So we'll push Clarabel back just a minute and we will compare and contrast Brio with the 2004 new style Annie and Clarabel. So, oops, there we go. Looking at their faces now, the learning curve one is a lot better. You've got the painted, she's got the correct nose, painted eyes, and they're very, very similar. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there is a difference. I think there's a slight difference in Annie's eyelids, of all things. The nose is better colour, I think, on the learning curve one. Looking at their sides, Annie, the learning curve one still has the black windows. Let me do it like this. I think it's a little bit better. Learning curve Annie still has the black windows, but she still has the doors. The name is still a little bit clearer, but it's smaller than on the old style one. The back is nothing for learning curve one. Side is the same, and she also still has those nails or rivets or what have you there. We'll take a quick look at Clarabel next, and straight away let me keep it on the same side. So the learning curve one, I don't really like that face, if I'm being completely honest. I think I much prefer the Brio one. That one looks a lot more Clarabel to me. I'm not even sure why, to be honest. I think the line right down there, the lower left line on her face, is what's doing it for me. I don't quite like the shape of it. But, yeah, that's the only thing of which I can think. The other thing that I forgot to look at on the other one is the learning curve Clarabel. If I can get that in frame properly. Learning curve Clarabel doesn't depict the guard compartment like the Brio one does, because you notice there's a window missing there, but Clarabel has it. So that's one little thing that you know, I prefer Brio for actually incorporating that. But other than that, again, let me try and keep it on the same side so we know who they are. Other than that, the same details all around, and yeah. So I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to actually compare and contrast those two, seeing as I've never actually been able to do it before, because I've never had the learning curve equivalent of a Brio item before now. So there we go, that's my look at the Brio Thomas Friends Annie and Clarabel. I hope you enjoyed looking at this, and I hope you hope you're looking forward to seeing more in the coming weeks. So thank you all very much for watching. Tell me down below what you think of these models, and what your favourite Annie and Clarabel models and moments in the series are. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.